Heart first leadership isn't what you say, it's how you show up, how you regulate, how you communicate, and how you execute when it matters most. We are Heidi and Ryan Sawyer, and you are listening to the Heart First Leadership Podcast.
Welcome back to the show. Today we are going to be having a conversation about the importance of removing ourselves from our environment to be able to gain connection, get clarity, gain connection to, what we want to bring to the world, the contribution we want to make, the impact we want to make, the version of ourselves we want to become, all of these things that I think is so incredibly important for us as human beings. If we're on this path, if you're listening to this podcast, that means you're probably somebody who's leaning into this idea of making an impact in your own life, making a change, a transformation, improving the quality of your relationships, or potentially you're really on a mission. You're on a mission in life to fill some sort of a hole that you see, right? There's something that you uniquely see in the world. Well, we are two people sitting here having a conversation with you that have really connected to an idea and to a way that we are making an impact. So today we want to talk about just what have been some practices that we have used in the past and we continue to use to regain or to find clarity in connection to our impact. Mm-hmm. And before we go into this, I think it's important to understand, really fundamentally what we're talking about doing here is breaking patterns, right? So let's start on the most micro level first, and then we'll kind of build up a little bit and to see where that conversation takes us. The first thing I think is important to understand is that patterns, meaning our ways of thinking, our ways of acting, our ways of being in the world, even vibrational frequencies that we kind of resonate at, these patterns live in our environment. And so what I mean is when I say our environment, I mean the four walls of the home that you live in. You walk by the kitchen, you open the fridge, you don't even know why you opened it, right? Mm-hmm. There's some sort of a trigger. They also live in kind of the times of our day. It's morning, it's noon, I must be hungry, it must be lunchtime, right? Mm-hmm. So these patterns just live in our lives in a way where we operate and we think out of a very unconscious point of view or perspective, yeah. Right?
Well, let's talk a little bit about why these patterns exist and why our brain favors patterns. So the brain, if you look at what they call the motivational triad, the brain has basically three main functions, right? That it's always prioritizing over anything else, which is to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, and to conserve energy. Mm-hmm. So conserving energy is done really well when we create habit loops and patterns, especially in the times of day that we do things, like you said, different triggers that are set up to create different behavior patterns. And that is a way that we can continue to not only conserve energy, but we also, on the flip side of that, that's sort of a positive, right? The brain doesn't have to work so hard to make every single decision throughout the day because some things are kind of hardwired in there that we just automatically do. Like, I'm sure whether you have an intentional morning routine or not, you have a routine in the morning. You have a set of habits that you do every single morning, and you probably do them in just about the same order, no matter what. But the flip side of that is that, like you said, we can be unconsciously doing things that are maybe not serving the person that we want to become, maybe not serving the higher impact that we want to make in the world. So we've got to become consciously aware of what our habits are, how our brain's trying to conserve energy, maybe how it's trying to avoid pain by avoiding discomfort of changing a habit or doing something different, and how we might be seeking pleasure when it also may not align with our highest good.
And so I think the important piece for us to recognize is that if we don't interrupt a pattern that are playing out in our lives, that we're not going to wake up to the fact that you're living in a pattern. Mm-hmm. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I thought that I was awake, right? Conscious, making conscious choices. And then whether it be 6 hours or 6 days later or 6 weeks later, I'm able to look back and be like, what was that? Like, who was I being there? And why did I make that choice? And so I think that let's start on a micro level. Like, let's talk about some ways that we can just within our day, like take a break a pattern, remove ourselves from our environment. And before we go into that conversation, the other thing I want to just touch on here is when I say environment, your body is part of that. So your body, what we have to be greater than, and this is the placebo component that we talk about a lot in the program, but we have to be greater than to create real change and transformation that's lasting and sustainable is we got to be greater than our body. It means we got to think and feel in ways that are greater than our body is conditioned to think and feel. We have to be greater than our environment, which means that, and time, our environment and time, these three things, which means that maybe I need to think and feel and act in a way that is greater than my current circumstances, right? That I can't wait for the thing to show up before I start operating in a certain way, right? And so if I want to create a new business model or grow a company to a certain level, then I need to be resonating at least one step ahead of where I want to create. So we're not going to go down that road of understanding how to live greater than your body and greater than your environment. But I do think that is an important component of understanding what we're doing when we're breaking patterns. We're breaking a pattern. We're taking a break intentionally, whether it be 5 minutes or 20 minutes or multiple days, and we'll kind of build our way up. So one way that is fun to try to break patterns is to sleep on the opposite side of the bed. Or to drive a different way to work than you normally do. To take a different route.
Have you ever been trying to drive somewhere and you actually end up driving home? Because
you're going to the grocery store.
Yeah. And that is because we have this subconscious mind that is basically our autopilot. So again, conserving energy. So it's just going, hey, okay, I know what's going on here.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm in the car, and it's
I meant to stop.
Yeah, but you don't really think about the stop you got to make. You're going to end up in your driveway and be like, wait a minute, I meant to go to the grocery store. Everybody's done that. And there's so many things that we do on autopilot on a daily basis that one of the pattern interrupts, like what you're talking about, is just breaking these really kind of minor and sort of seemingly inconsequential patterns as a way just to test it, just to test the pattern interrupt, to see to experience the pattern interrupt.
To experience it. And I think it's also empowering. Like what we're talking about here is baby stepping our way into potentially breaking larger habit loops or patterns and getting to a place where you're really intentionally creating yourself as the highest impact version of you, as the person that you want to become, rather than just sort of playing out old conditioning and patterns that maybe you've just kind of fallen into unintentionally and aren't really helping you to get to where you want to go.
And so even if you're just beginning this, maybe this is, you're just kind of leaning into knowing that you want something to be different and you're starting to work towards a new version of yourself, then absolutely. We're starting on a very micro level. But if you're also someone who's dedicated their life to this work, like we have, you still need to do this, right?
Yeah,
you're still going to play the game, right? So you're still going to fall into patterns. So let's give some other examples. Sleeping on the opposite side of the bed. You know how I love cold exposure. You cannot be in an old pattern when you're in a 40-degree tub or an ice bath. We just
did that this morning.
Or a cold shower. This is one I love. Eating with your opposite hand.
Okay, I'm going to try that one. I haven't tried that.
You're left-handed. I'm left-handed. So eating with your right hand, like how much presence it brings to the moment. I think eating these things that are just so every day. Eating is one of those things where. Like I often stop and ask my kids or myself, did you taste that? Because we start eating. And last night I was watching my son, we were eat popcorn.
Yeah.
It was more entertaining to watch him eat popcorn than it was to watch the movie that we were watching. I don't even remember what movie it was.
It was Marley and Me.
Oh yeah, Marley and Me, which is a cute movie. But I was more fascinated watching him take these handfuls, and like shoving his hand up into his mouth, and and half of it ended up on the ground.
And our puppy was like all about it.
Yeah, loving the extra butter. Anyway, I'm like, is he even tasting that? Because he's clearly not. I mean, just shoveling it in.
And we've all done it. We all do these kind of patterns. Yeah.
So, and that's another way is just to, and drive a different way to work. That's a really interesting one. And you'll begin to start to notice even a little bit of a disturbance internally when you begin to change patterns. Like it feels uncomfortable. Why am I doing this? Right. So that's on a very micro level, just to build some awareness. As you want to deepen your connection, I think this is a practice that I take on at least once a year, but probably more to 2 or 3 times a year, that I commit to it once a year, where I'm going to remove myself completely for at least 3 or 4 days with no real set agenda. I'm not going to, on a massive hike. I'm not going on vacation to then do something different.
Right.
And keep myself busy. I'm legitimately going somewhere to be very quiet, to be very still, and to allow for that mind to race for a little while until it settles down. And then the only thing I have left to do is to like, what do I want?
Yeah. And to be with yourself in just a different environment.
And so
because I think that's where we miss out on that opportunity is we go on vacation, like we went to Disney with the kids. We're busy the entire time.
Right.
We're doing all these different experiences and doing things the whole time. That's not really getting out of your environment to test a pattern or to, look inward and take a look and take inventory of where you're at. If you want to do that, you've got to do exactly what you're saying. You've got to remove yourself from your typical environment and routines, go somewhere different, physically go somewhere different.
Yeah.
And plan to do nothing but be you in that new environment.
Which is going to give you an opportunity to be you, and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Oh, it's going to be super. Yeah. You're going to wonder if you should have planned 1,000 things to do.
You're going to be like, man, I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of potato chips just so I can feel like me.
Did you do that?
No.
Okay.
But I thought about it. No, but before we go further into that idea of like how you can connect by being removed from your environment and the power of that, and then the importance of intentionally when you're re-entering into your environment is also a part of the conversation. So again, we're prefacing this as a suggestion. Now, this is interesting to me. I just was in conversation with a friend and he's going on vacation. I think he's on vacation right now. And I'm really incredibly excited about completely unplugging. Right. And I thought to myself, you're unplugging. It's like the Matrix. What are you unplugging from? And then if you're unplugging from something, you're putting your energy someplace else, you're plugging back in. So this idea, legitimately, we are consciously unplugging from our patterns, from our programming,
our day-to-day life,
our conditioning, our day in, day out, right? I want to challenge us as people who are on this path of wanting to make an impact in our own lives and those people and lives around that we care about and beyond into our community, is to let's remove ourselves from our environment to go plug in, not to unplug, right? To take this massive break, right? And then, operate however you operate and have a few extra drinks or whatever people do on vacations, right?
Yeah.
But you come back more tired, right?
Plug into yourself.
Plug it into you, right? Plug it into your higher power, your higher self. You're removing all of this extra clutter and chatter and taking this as far as you want. Like I even take it as far as like really simplifying my nutrition, like, doing a ton of meditation or breath work, and different things like that. That helps for me to be like wiping the slate clean, right?
Cleaning the windshield.
Yeah. I mean, have a trip at least once a year where you remove yourself completely by yourself and then go and experience yourself in a way when you come back, you're charged because you went and plugged in.
Yep.
Right? How many people come back from vacation and they need a vacation from vacation?
Yeah.
Because you went and unplugged, you unleashed, you had a little extra food, you drink a few extra drinks or whatever you did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're coming back like, and you even are more lost on what it is you truly want. Because that vacation came and went. You thought you wanted the vacation, but you really just wanted a break from your life.
Yeah. How much is it? Okay. I'm thinking, how much is it? It reminds me of the Jerry Seinfeld, like little skit that we always joke about, but how much is it? I've got to get away and now I've got to get back.
You gotta get going.
And now I got to get back to it and I got to work out and I've got to whatever, when it could just be like, I get to go and plug in to me, to plug into my higher power, to plug into myself, to plug into my vision for my life, for who I want to become, for the mother that I want to be, for the partner that I want to be, and then I get to come back to my life with this renewed enthusiasm for who it is that I'm here to be. Yeah, because I took the time to be with myself. I'm totally doing this, by the way. We got to look at the calendar.
Well, I told you, I said, when I came, so recently, the reason why
I haven't done anything like this in a while. So
this is front of mind for me because I had just gotten back. I just went to Santa Cruz, California to go learn an advanced meditation technique, and as well as, spend time in silence in nature. I got an Airbnb that was on acreage, on 10 acres, like this little tiny cottage with no TV. There wasn't even a kitchen. I mean, I went and got a couple pieces of fruit, some veggies, had a couple protein bars, and that was it. That was the simplicity. So I couldn't even distract myself with like cooking. I had a yoga mat, and, I slept as much as I could. I rested. I found myself at one point for like 4 hours, legitimately just laying on the floor, just like rolling around and doing some gentle yoga and just like relaxing completely. But that's not unplugging. That was me like plugging in and finding a connection, like allowing for my nervous system to completely de-stress in a way that it was able to upregulate. And in that process of doing that, it's incredibly clear when you recognize how you're living unconsciously. You're able to like look at your life from 10,000 feet and go like, oh, when I get back, I'm not going to re-engage in X, Y, and Z. Right. And I'm not going to let those patterns run. Other patterns are fine, but you can take a break and you can evaluate yourself in your life in a way where you can be very clear about who it is you want to become, what you want to experience, what's in the way of that, and the impact that you want to make. And so you can kind of come back with this very specific model, right? That you can then work to when you come back into your life and you are plugging what you brought back into your life. You're plugging that in.
Like I would say you're taking the opportunity to plug into yourself, to source, to what's important to you, who you truly are, and shedding a lot of that other stuff. And then you're taking that back to your life. And then you are, our favorite word, integrating it. We are all leaders. If you're ready to stop waiting and start impacting your environment in a powerful way, we want to connect with you. Click the Book Now link in the show notes to book a call with a Heart First coach and discover what Heart First leadership can look like in your life and in your environment. Now back to the show.
Okay, so that's the idea, right? Is to re-enter the world and integrate, right? And this is where I think this is a very important conversation. I had just recently a conversation with a friend of mine who had gone on a trip. He had spent time in Europe, and when he was there and removed from his home and his environment and in the normal day in, day out obligations and jobs and everything, it was incredibly clear to him who he wanted to become, the impact he wanted to make, the type of work he wanted to do. He came then back to his environment and got back into certain patterns, whether it be because the environment was the apartment that he was living in, and then also the people that he was. Yeah,
your circle of influence.
It was influenced by family and friends. And then there was some struggle and obstacles that maybe showed up because of that, right? Which then he lost connection to that incredible clarity. It's like where to go, right? And
that can happen so fast.
I often say that we have 48 hours in our own environment before we like kind of forget. I mean, I rarely go more than 2 days without like doing some sort of journaling, visualization, something that helps to continue to reaffirm and connect to and integrate the impact that I want to make in the world, right?
Yeah.
So when we're coming back in, I think we have to have a kind of a re-entry plan, right? I mean, otherwise you burn up. I mean, it's like I just had a visual of a space, like a spaceship, or a space shuttle.
Come back into the Earth atmosphere,
and coming back in. If you're not at the right degree, right? If you're not at the right angle and the right speed and all these different things, I don't know all the science behind it, but I know that it's really easy for a ship to burn up, coming back into the atmosphere, coming back into your environment. Your connection to your higher self, to the higher power, to your higher impact, to a higher version of yourself will burn up, and it's gone.
And here's the thing, a lot of times people will think of an idea like this. It's like, oh, this sounds really cool. I want to connect to myself and whatever. But then it's exactly what you're saying. They get back into their environment and there's like people there, energy there
remind them of their
that reminds them, or that says, who do you think you are? You've always been this way. And that's kind of who I want you to keep being, right? Because it makes me feel okay about who I'm being. So that's kind of that where we can have other people kind of pull us back down into this known experience of who we've been in the past, even though that's not the truth of who we are now. And that's not where we're going. And that's not who we want to be. It can be really tempting because of our basic human needs of wanting to belong. To be sucked back into that same old experience and maybe some of the habits and behaviors that go along with that. So it is really important to be realistic if you're going to do something like this and recognize, okay, when I come back into my environment, what is my reentry plan? Because I know that there are going to be some people there from my life that maybe don't understand who it is that I am aspiring to be and what my goals are and how I want to make these changes in my life. I think that's a really good, valid point that is applicable for a lot of people.
So let's look at it for just another second from a different angle. So when we are removed, and we are plugging into that higher source that we're talking about, right? So we're going to change. Do you know how we do everything here? You guys, legitimately, we're challenging the ways that we live in our culture in a way that we, trying to look at things from the inside out and the upside down, backwards. We have found like legitimately life becomes much more fulfilling, joyful, abundant, rewarding, impactful when you live against the grain.
Yeah.
So what that would look like is understanding that there's going to be a level of resistance. So the first thing I want to prep you for, if you were somebody who says, I like this idea, where do I start? Well, go start with a half day or a full day or a couple of days.
Or start with these micro changes that we talked about first, right? Just so you can recognize.
Eat a meal with the opposite hand, right? Yeah. So one thing I've been building up to what I call a vision quest. I plan on taking this vision quest at the end of this summer, around my 46th birthday. Can you believe that? Anyway, what this looks like is quite intense. It's basically drawing a circle in the dirt. It's water only, and it's a blanket and pillows, few things to be comfortable, to keep you shaded and things like that. Maybe a tarp, but that's it. Water, a circle, and yourself, right? For 4 days. I say that I get nervous, and that's what makes me excited about it, because here's what I know. I've been prepping to work myself up to that through silence and meditation practices and meditation retreats and doing this and kind of building up every year. I spend a little bit more time in silence. And when I take my retreats, I spend a little bit more time alone, and it's getting easier. But this is what I'll tell you. The first day that you're removed and you're in this different environment, like the desire to distract yourself is downright hilarious.
I was thinking of the last time I did this, and I went to Sandpoint and I was by myself, and I was like, well, maybe I'll go to the shops. I'm going to go look around at the shops. I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going to go check. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm gonna like all this stuff. And it was just what I really needed to do was just go for this little hike along the shore trail and sit down and just be there and watch the water and then walk a little bit more and then sit there. But I did notice that urge to want to distract myself and check everything out. And,
I distracted. Mine shows up with the desire to eat.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do that too. Like, what restaurants are here? What shops are here?
I'll drive into I instantly I'll drive down into town. I'll go to that health food store. That'll make me feel better about myself, right? And then I'll come back with jerky and chips and all these almonds and flavored almonds. I mean, all these things, right? And legitimately, so I did this. At some point in the trip, I went down and went to the. Initially, I knew this was going to come as resistance, but I still found myself at the health food store. Buying all these things that were quote unquote organic or healthy. Right. And then it was like,
did you eat them all like in one day?
Well, that's the hilarious piece is like, you would think that, okay, I'm down there for 4 days. I'll make that one trip, my one trip, and then I'll kind of ration it out. Oh, no.
No.
Like I went bonkers and ate the whole entire bag of jerky. And
you were like a bear getting into like a campsite or something.
Survival mode. Yeah, but it was legitimately, and I knew while I was doing it, like, why am I eating this whole entire bag of pistachios right now? Like, I am not even hungry.
It's just
I'm actually feeling sick in my stomach as I continue to crack every single shell open.
Yeah.
It was like I was not wanting to go through the process of the silence, the stillness, the unknown, just the space that I know was waiting for me there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of it. So when you remove yourself, just know there's going to be resistance to that space, to that nothing, to that time, to the energy. Like you're going to feel like you got to stay busy. And I'm saying when you can move beyond or go through that resistance, that's where on the other side of that is the gold, is the absolute gold. It actually takes the resistance. And then we could, maybe that'd be a great conversation to have with Stephanie on the podcast at some point, is the play that resistance has when it comes to change, when it comes to transformation, like to get yourself into that creative place, to get yourself into that center where you're connecting to your higher self, to your higher, like you have to pass through something.
Yeah, you do.
Right? And whether you're talking about sitting still in meditation for 20 minutes, or you're talking about a 4-hour vision quest, or a walkabout. Matthew McConaughey, in his book, he talks about these walkabouts that he goes on, and he has maybe a little bit more resources and time to be able to go disappear for 30 days or whatever it is he does.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But there's gonna be this incredible amount of resistance pops up. So I would also say that the measurement of resistance, the equal on the other side of that is the gift. So what I mean by that is when you return to your environment, expect the same type of resistance when you begin to integrate this new version of yourself. And this is where the more time you spend journaling, visualizing, imagining, creating a model in your mind of what it looks like to be you when you return into your environment. And then when you're back in your environment, connecting to that every day to remind your mind and your body, like to give your body a taste of this new version of you. So these new patterns have a time to fortify and be created.
Yeah.
And then a revisiting of the impact, because at the end of the day, as social beings, meaning, significance, contribution is one of the most important aspects of our evolution and growth. At some point, we will not continue to evolve in consciousness in our journey unless we know how we are making an impact and how we're being significant, right? And so we have to connect to this. Otherwise, guaranteed, there's only so far you can go in your growth. Once you're past a level of certain plateaus of, your basic human needs being met, you naturally will turn as a human being. You naturally will turn to the meaning of your life, the significance of your life, the whole that you see, how you can help, how you can contribute. And so now to stay in that new patterning, it becomes about or say in a life where you're creating a new pattern, it becomes about connecting to that impact, and not just the impact, but the feedback that you're getting. I want you to think about this for a minute. When you make such impact that you're meant to make, and I'm talking to you, I'm talking to anybody who may be listening, right? I want you to think about the impact that you can make in the world based upon your experiences, your past conditioning, everything that you have become up to this point and can even desire yourself to become. Like, that's your desires, and what you see is what you can impact is exactly what you're supposed to be doing and exactly who you're supposed to be becoming.
Yeah.
Who you desire to be at the core when you remove yourself and you spend time and you connect, and it's really clear at the core, that's exactly who you're supposed to become.
Yeah. I think about the time that I thought about quitting coaching. And I went out to...
There was one time?
Well, the time that I seriously considered that this may not be the right path for me. At that, I had a lot of resistance. It was around when COVID was going on. Okay. So about 3 years ago. I went out to our friend Debbie Heiser's place in Sandpoint. I've been to Sandpoint quite a few times for little kind of getaways for myself. I just find that's a great place for me to plug back in to myself. But I went up there with her and another friend that's a coach, and I spent some time. We did some solo hiking, and where we would go to do a hike and then split up, go our own way. And I came away from that realizing that it wasn't something that I wanted to give up, and that it was this smaller aspect of myself that was kind of trying to keep me safe from showing up in a bigger way and making the impact that I know in my heart I'm here to make. And it took that time, though, to kind of get out of my normal environment and step away and have some intention behind the time I was spending with myself to recognize what my true desire was. Because I think if people are listening and they're thinking, well, I know I want to make an impact, but I'm not sure what that uniquely is for me. This might be exactly what you need to get in touch with what that is for you.
And then the thought that I just had as you were saying that, and I don't know this to be true, but I know this just to be true for me. And again, we're not here, trying to, prescribe anything. It's just, we're saying this is what we've noticed is there's only so much connection I can gain and clarity I can gain into what's next for me in my environment. It's just too noisy here.
Yeah. Well, and
when I say noisy, I don't mean noisy like, yes, I do mean noisy. I mean noisy because
2 kids, 2 dogs. It's a little bit noisy.
2 kids, 2 dogs, 2 businesses.
Yeah.
1 wife, thank goodness. Right? But, it's just noisy. There's a lot going on. There's always a lot to do. Today, am I going to wax my truck or pull weeds? I don't know. Right. But when you're,
it's the weekend in case you're wondering.
When you're removed. It's Sunday. Today's Sunday. So when you're removed, then, everything has a chance to settle down and quiet down, and you have a chance. So I would say that, you really want to figure out what's next for you, the impact you can make. You want to, but you don't know what it is, or what your significant role or purpose is in the world, right? Remove yourself and start with small. Remove yourself for 20 minutes, remove yourself for an hour, right? Because legitimately, if you looked at even meditation, as a foundational practice that we encourage to integrate your mind, right? Body, soul, experience, inner and outer world. That's exactly what meditation is.
Yeah.
Meditation is sitting down, closing your eyes, stepping out of your senses, stepping out of the patterns.
Yeah.
Right. For me, the hardest meditation by far, but yet the most rewarding and awakening one is the one that I do at like 4 or 5 o'clock before dinner after my day.
Yeah.
That one's like, okay, dude, sit down. I'm like, I don't want to sit down. I want to stay busy. Right?
But I got this, and this.
I could, if I finish this, then I won't have to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that as a pure practice of meditation, whatever type of meditation you practice, and we teach multiple different traditions, but is stepping out of your senses, stepping out of the pattern, and connecting to what is true, to the absolute, to being, right? Being is this underlining quality, right? In everything.
Mm-hmm. I'm smiling because I'm thinking Beauty and the Being.
Beauty and the Being, your old podcast, right? Being is this underlying thing. And it's not to quiet your mind. It's not to do all these different things or to concentrate, or to witness and be able to know that you're not your thoughts. Like all these things are great. They're all nice skills. They're all nice. They're all part of the path. But the real gold is when you sit with it and you get good enough at meditation for long enough that when you're sitting down for 20 or 30 minutes, like, you're going to come back with less. You're going to come back with less because you're going to go touch what's true and what's real and the absolute, and not the relative world of all the things and the money and the phone calls to make and things. But I'm talking about the nothingness of where we come from and where we're going. Yeah. And then you're able to operate from that place. So that's a practice of what we do daily. Right. And this is maybe something to think about when we're talking about stepping out of your environment. Your environment is your body, right? So meditation is foundational. You can do other ways to break patterns on a daily basis that are fun, like we talked about. But what are you doing daily? What are you doing weekly? What are you doing monthly? Maybe or quarterly, and then annually, right? Right. Let me give you an example. Today, for me, daily is a 20-minute meditation twice a day. Right? Weekly is cold exposure, ice bath, and a longer training session with sauna, ice bath, working out, right?
That's what we did today.
Well, that's a weekly over the course of the weekend. I do one of those, right? Monthly, I try to spend an extended time in nature. And I plan these things out, you guys. I put them on my calendar, right? To make sure, because I believe, and I've noticed, it's not just I believe, I've noticed it. It's real. It's being a human. If you don't take these breaks, you will just fall into patterns. And most patterns that we fall into come back to that survival mechanism of trying to seek comfort and avoid pain and to conserve energy, right? And so it's like, how much of that conversation is helping me become the version of myself I'm here to become and help make me make the impact I'm trying to make? If my brain's constantly trying to conserve energy, seek pleasure, and avoid pain, like, wait a minute, is that going to help me get to where I want to go and be the version of myself I want to be and make the impact I want to make? Absolutely not. So I have to break the pattern of being human. Right.
And that starts with just having compassion for yourself, or realizing, hey, this is what a human brain does. Okay. I remember I listened to this podcast and Heidi was saying these are the kind of the three jobs of the brain. Okay, cool. So that's my human brain doing what a human brain is designed to do, to keep me safe, to keep me alive, to keep me from expending too much energy, because the brain is very based in survival. So cool. All right. I can have compassion for myself and realizing that will always be the default program.
Yeah, it's not going to change for anybody.
So
it's not, don't judge it.
Getting connected with who it is I'm here to be and the impact that I want to make in the world, and understanding the human condition and the fact that I'm a human being with a human brain. Where can I intentionally break patterns? Where can I intentionally separate myself from the habits and routines that maybe aren't serving my bigger vision? And how can I make sure that I'm doing that on a consistent basis? And I think it's exactly what you said. It's that using that, what am I doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and setting yourself up for success by planning ahead. Because I will tell you, because I've got a human brain too, and it does all those same things that we're talking about. It will say, you know what, it would just be cool just to not do that thing and maybe just watch a movie on Netflix tonight. Okay. It would just be better just to kind of do some laundry and get the house cleaned up. And it will be sneaky, and it will trick you into thinking that the things that you're doing are productive and that they are the best thing for you and others. But it's important to take that time to reconnect to yourself so that you can remember what truly is important and what you're truly here to do. Those other things will get done, but we've got to prioritize the truth of who we're here to be and the larger impact that we want to make, because the world's not going to change by us just kind of falling in line with old habits. We have to break these cycles and we've got to do a better job at doing it so that we can teach our kids how to do these things as well. That's the only way the world's going to change.
So it's just knowing, and start people like, listen, if this is something new to you that you're like, oh my gosh, it's kind of overwhelming. Okay, that's fine.
I'm excited about this idea.
Yes, I'm excited for you. I've been saying to you, like, hey, when are you going to, go plug in, right? And remove yourself from your environment, right? And then be able to come back and then we have integration plans. Like, she knows whenever I remove myself and come back, she better have her to-do list done because I'm adding to it.
I know, like, okay, you're coming back with all these ideas. We're going to do a podcast on this. We're writing about this. We're teaching about this. It's so cool.
This new shift that we're making of really honing in, talking about impact and wanting to bring people onto our podcast that are clearly making an impact in the world and having conversations with those people about what they had to sacrifice, who they had to become to make that impact. How do they see that whole? How does that play into their life, right? To make these conversations so we can hear, the two of us can hear and can stay connected to this idea of being an impact oriented family, right? Because that's our like underlining mission as a family, like mission statement wise. And then to be able to share this, not so much just what people are doing, but how did you get to being the version of you that saw that hole and is filling that hole? Yeah. Like, to me, that is more fascinating to me because everybody's trying to help in one way. And I don't care who I talk to. Every single person I talk to at some point in the coaching process or in connection with peers or whatever it may be, they say they want to help other people. Like, this is part of being human. And so how can we get better as individuals at becoming the version of ourselves that's able to make the impact and or fix the problem and contribute in the way that we uniquely see? Yeah. Like, wow, what conversations, right?
And those things can be small, but that's what changes the world is this network of people who are doing this.
My point is that this whole idea in all the questions, it all came to me in a moment of silence while I was removed. Yeah. And I started driving, and I call Heidi, hey, say, hey, when I get back, this is the direction we're going with the podcast. She's like, oh, sounds great. Okay. Talk to you later. Right. So start working on these ideas, start making a list of people. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the piece is to start small. Yeah. Start small, start with small patterns, start with small 5-minute breaks, start with small 5-minute, walks in nature or whatever it be. Start to recognize how these patterns are running your life. And if you think that you don't have time, it's because you're caught in a pattern. Because there is time. And if you can break the patterns, then you are no longer the pattern. Now you have an opportunity to reprogram and to reinstall the pattern, the version of you, who you want to become, the impact you want to make, but you got to stay connected to it. And there's all kinds of ways that we teach on how to rewire yourself towards a new experience of life, but that we don't have time to go into all that right now. So this is about removing yourself and taking that time to plug in. We're no longer unplugging. Let's just as a community, if I consider anybody who's listened to this as part of our community, we greatly appreciate you. As a community, let's all strive to build lives that we don't need breaks from.
Amen to that. Yeah. Right.
Let's just strive to have a life that we want to live, that we want to be in, that we don't have to unplug from.
It doesn't mean that, like, there's such a trend right now of people talking about passive income and like, oh, you're going to just sit on a beach and drink Mai Tais and the money will roll in. Yeah. How fulfilling is that? That's not fulfilling to me at all. I want to be in the work. I want to be doing things with people. I want to be connecting and
have conversations
and having these meaningful conversations. So that's like what we're talking about, whatever that is for you. Create a life you don't need a vacation from because you're living a life that has meaning and purpose and significance and contribution, right? It's not about just making money and sitting on a beach somewhere and unplugging. It's about connecting to that source, which has created us all for a purpose in this world. So I don't know, I'm a little bit fired up today, but I'm excited about it. And I also think if this conversation resonates with you at all, if you're like, wow, I recognize I am running patterns, or I'm not sure if I'm running a pattern, but I'm pretty sure what these guys are saying makes a lot of sense. And I kind of want to know how can I transcend some of these things and how can I put into place some of these practices that Ryan's talking about, I want to invite you to join one of our groups. We have some integrated mindset coaching programs coming up. It's our 10-week signature program, and it is kind of the gateway to any of the other programs that we offer. We require you to go through integrated mindset first because it is the absolute foundation. It is the springboard for your growth. And we provide you so many incredible tools, great connection through group calls and interaction. So you really have that sense of community lifting you up, and people that are like running partners alongside you who are also wanting to make change in their life. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than having a community of people who are really striving to show up as the highest impact versions of themselves. Because when we can collectively be in that energy together, and we can be doing this work together as a team, we're unstoppable.
Yeah, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to invite you to check out some of our programs. Our website is ihpcoaching.com, and we would love to connect with you on there as well.
So I appreciate your time, and we will be seeing you again soon.
Thank you for listening. Remember, leaders go first. Alignment matters. And the environment that you create is the legacy you'll leave. We'll see you on the next episode.